Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Tuesday afternoon, September 29th. We're looking at the last 2 days of the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. A bunch of things to start. First of all, pretty interesting day, aggravating day for a couple of reasons. Today was the first day I saw that off a little headline or a tweet or whatever it was, we saw the market move once in E, once in H. So as we head into the last day of the quarter, the debates, the election, the Fed heads talking constantly. Get used to that. We haven't seen that in a while. I think it distorted the day's trading. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of that now going forward. So that's number one. Number two, again, I got aggravated big time by Schwab having a position that they wouldn't let me out of, that I was in the money in very nicely in J. Got no satisfaction on the phone with them as we went up in J and K. Luckily, I held it, came back down, took it off, still made money on it. But boy, oh boy, if anybody from Chucky Schwab land's listening out there, your platform's been very, very disappointing lately. And don't know how much longer I'm going to be with it unless things change drastically. We are in balance in all three time frames, monthly, weekly, daily. We have gaps still below in the weekly and daily that held. In fact, if it wasn't for that little headline in E period, I don't think we would have taken out yesterday's low, and I think we would have traded and had an inside day. Because the day basically did what I thought it would do, except in E and in 1 point in H, which I'll go over in a minute. I had a decent day. I had two losing trades, one in E, one in H, both on one in E. I'm not upset about it all that I took. The one in H I am, and I'll go over that. So the day turned out to be good overall, but not the easiest day to call because of what was transpiring. So we opened in balance, in value, worst of the risk reward, right? What did we do in A? What do we always do? We trade M period, right? But this was a little different because it was in the middle of it. It's not like we opened above it, got accepted, and short it down, or vice versa. So I didn't do anything initially. However, at one point when it finally got above the opening and it looked like we would go trade M period, I bought the 333 calls, and it worked. Nice trade to start the day. Then in B period, we popped. I was looking to take, was that B? Yes, it was B. I was looking to possibly take a call play if we popped A's high, only quickly to see what we got out of it, because I didn't think they'd take out yesterday's high. I wasn't on the gas quick enough. It would have had to be really quick because it popped. It did nothing, and that's when I took the short, right? I said, these algos don't want to take out the high. Nobody wants to set their algo, so I bought the 336 put against yesterday's high and rode it back down to around above the opening. So that was nice. C period. C period takes out B and A. Right, so we stopped the one-time framing up, going to balance, took a short looking for the overnight low, which we finally got, so that worked out. Now, D period starts and we have single prints. And it did take out C's low right away. So I didn't want to, a lot of times if we don't take out C's low, I'd get long to fill the singles. Well, since we took it out, I really wasn't looking for that. Now, I didn't take a put either. I was waiting, I wasn't convinced about the action, what was happening. And then when E opened, and this is the first trade I took that, so when E opened and didn't take out D's low yet and started going up, I said, these single prints are going to fill if we take out D's high. And right before we took out D's high, I actually played Innovator, and it's a good thing because it saved me, and I'll tell you in a minute why. I bought the 332 calls. It popped the top. I bought 50 of them. Started selling them. And then all of a sudden there was a headline from one of the Fed heads, which totally reversed this market. I was out of about, I forgot what I was out of, 30 or whatever, but the other 18, they started flushing out. I didn't add, thank goodness, at the time. Got out of them, gave back whatever I made here and more on that trade. I lost nothing huge. I didn't give away my day at that time because I had good trades in A, B, and C. But I am not upset at taking that trade at all because that was headline related. There's no way we would have gone in reverse like that. If not for that, we would have filled the singles. Okay, so what happens? We go down in E. They're trying to push now. We take out the day's low into the gap. F pushes lower into the gap. but they're not getting any distance, right? So they're pushing. So what did I do in G? Same thing I did in E, except this one worked out nicely. Waited, took out F's high, took a nice call play, 332s again, filled the single prints, and got out on the balance. Now, H, this is one that's definitely my fault. G closes, I'm flat on the long, H opens, so now I'm still looking possibly for an afternoon rally high. H looks like it's going to continue to go higher, right? We stopped the one-time framing down. And then it reverses on a dime on another headline about, I think there was some, the COVID, and I forgot what country it was. And we go down and make a new low. Now, I should have realized that headline wasn't going to hold weight, just like E's didn't. It had pushed down, but we came all the way back. We were coming all the way back. I went and took a short thinking, well, maybe we'll go and at least fill the weekly gap, right? This one, not the daily gap. That's a big one, but maybe the weekly gap. It was only 50 cents away. Well, lo and behold, that didn't happen. It came back up, took it off, lost small on that one. And thank goodness I took it off, because then look what happened, right? It was just BS. Right? That shows you, that's why I'm telling you, I don't use stops, right? I don't use them on the options, and I usually know my out, but I am telling you, anybody who's learning, or anybody, you better be using stops, especially with the volatility I think we're going to see going forward. So then in I period, right? So now we absolutely sit right here, G, H, and I. I just took it out. And I'm like, I want to see this pop up at the time to half back and to around AB's low, right? Because then I think maybe we will get the afternoon rally high. This was just a head fake, absolute BS. We would have taken G's high out in H if that headline didn't come out. I waited. I wasn't sure if we were going to get it. And then, boom, we got it. And I took a beautiful short, bought the 334 puts. They started coming in, took some off. Went back up, put some on. It was a nice trade. J opened at the time. Now, this is where I had taken a lot off. And then J went back up. I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to add more. I don't mind. Added more before it took out J's eyes high. Came in, and then they wouldn't let me out of it. The options were 20 to 30 cents in my favor from the add-on and what I had originally. And it was going through any offer to get out of them I put in. Got no satisfaction from Schwab. Watched a 30-cent gain on my puts go to losses up here. Held on to them. And then finally, I was like, okay, well, here's the afternoon. If we had gotten above the open, I probably would have taken everything off. But it didn't. I didn't add on either. Because now not only is my capital reserve going down, my mental reserve was through the roof because I was so aggravated with Schwab and how not only did they cost me a nice gain, now I'm getting caught here. Luckily, it came in, took them off. I did make money on them. Did not get as much as I wanted to, though, because, again, they deteriorate, and plus I took them off a little higher than when I would have in J period. And that was my only trade, and that was it. Then I just watched. I let L and M do what they wanted to do, and that was it. So remember, your mental reserve is almost as important as your capital reserve. It's very frustrating when your mental reserve gets destroyed by something outside of your control. I'll tell you that much. Destinations. K's high, 333.89. Afternoon rally high, 334.77. Today's high, 334.96. Yesterday's high, 335.49. Daily high, and you should have some of the other upper ones I've given. Downside, one and only one. Today's low of 331.62, and then filling the weekly gap at 331.20. So that's down to 42 ticks. And then today's low, filling the daily gap at 329.58, 204-point gap. Still pretty nice. And then below that, you should have all those single prints I gave last Friday. Oh, yeah, I think it was Friday. When we had the trend day up, those 5 sets of single prints. So, what are we going to look for tomorrow? Should be interesting, right? Let's go to the charts. Let's go to the monthly first. Last day in the month tomorrow. Now, we have a lot going on tonight. We have the debate Tomorrow, the Fed is coming out with something about bank buybacks. So there's a lot going on, and it's the end of the quarter. Right now, we're $5 or so above last month's low. It's still critical for me for the bulls to close above that. You close below that, and it's an outside month down, that's pretty damn bearish on the longer term. So if they're able to hold off and trade in here, we're firmly in a 2-month balance with basically this month's high and low being the entire range of it. And it's a pretty good range, right? It's 318. It's just about a $40 range. So pretty nice range. Weekly. Balance. Gap is still my main focus. And then the daily, same thing. We went from up, right? Yesterday was up because we took it out. But since we took out today's low, it's now balance again. 2-day balance. We're still above the 5-day. We still have the gap. That's holding. We have the 50 right above us. So a market in balance, right, is plain and simple a market waiting for more market-generated information. And we're in balance in all 3 time frames. I have a gut feeling, starting tomorrow, we're going to get that information sooner rather than later. So between the algos starting to get more and more agitated by headlines, with all the the events taking place with the debate, earnings next week, the Fed continuing talking, and then the election, we're going to get some nice volatility. Being in my trading room for $20, seeing my live stream of the profile and getting a play-by-play of what we're looking for and what's evolving, is basically priceless. So come check us out and join us at camelbacktrading.org. Remember to turn back the clock event ends Saturday, so it's even cheaper. Have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.